I am probably going to get a lot of angry comments on this video, but this needs to be explained. Hello, my lovely inkblots, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Ash, and I'm a writer and a VTuber, among other things, and in one of the videos I posted a while back, I mentioned that people don't have to have gender dysphoria in order to be trans. Now, this pissed quite a few people off, and so I decided to start working on a short video explaining what actually determines if somebody is trans, at least from a medical standpoint, and I ended up talking a lot about something called gender incongruence, which I will get into later. And while working on the script for that short video, I realized that I wanted to elaborate on this topic a bit more than I could in just like 60 seconds. So here we are with a full-length video. First of all, I want to state that I am not the only one that believes that you don't have to have gender dysphoria to be trans. There are actually several reputable sources out there that state that a person does not have to have gender dysphoria in order to be trans. For example, there's Gender GP, Advocates for Trans Equality, and the American Psychiatric Society. I will link to all of those in the description and where I found this information for people to check out on their own, but all three make this same assertion. But you might be wondering, if a person's transness isn't dependent on gender dysphoria, how can people know that they're trans? How does that even work? Well, like I mentioned earlier, a person's transness is determined by their gender incongruence instead. Now, gender incongruence is defined as a condition in which a person's gender identity doesn't align with the gender they were assigned at birth. For the rest of the video, I will be using AGAB to mean assigned gender at birth for the rest of the video, so just keep that in mind. Gender incongruence is a condition that every trans and non-binary person has, and this is where gender dysphoria stems from for a lot of them. However, not everyone with gender incongruence has gender dysphoria, which is why not all trans people have dysphoria. I mean, there are plenty of trans and non-binary people who are still comfortable in their bodies and don't pursue medical transition. And I'm not even going to mention all the trans people who have their dysphoria significantly lessened by medically transitioning. They don't magically become not trans just because their dysphoria goes away for the most part. It's just because now the cause of it's been treated. And in case there's anybody who's worried about, kids being diagnosed with gender incongruence when they're just going through a phase, and I know that some of you guys are here because I've seen your comments. Some of you have also accused me of being a child, which is not accurate. But according to the World Health Organization, gender incongruence can't be diagnosed before puberty. There's actually a separate diagnosis for that, and being gender nonconforming is not enough to get that diagnosis. You have to consistently identify as a gender aside from your AGAB for a while in order to be diagnosed. Also, as a side note, I have been diagnosed medically with both gender incongruence and gender dysphoria. I just wanted to throw that out there because I got accused of not having dysphoria and self-diagnosing with dysphoria and appropriating trans people's experiences and so much more in one of my recent videos, even though I mentioned experiencing gender dysphoria because people either didn't listen long enough to hear it or just assumed that I hadn't seen a medical professional about it. I still meet fairly regularly with several medical professionals over my transition, so yeah, I'm on T for a reason. And honestly, my own experiences with all of this has made it to where I really stress that people who are questioning their gender and don't think that they have gender dysphoria should look for signs of gender euphoria instead. Because recognizing gender euphoria might be enough for you to realize that you actually have gender incongruence. Now, for those of you who may not know, gender euphoria is basically when you experience euphoria or good feelings around experiences relating to your preferred gender. Some examples of this are being happy when someone calls you by your preferred pronouns or name. Another is feeling a sense of happiness or excitement when you present as your preferred gender in a way that you don't get when you present as your AGAB. Obviously, this varies for people who are gender fluid, non-binary, or gender non-conforming, but I don't have much experience to speak on those things. If you see a medical professional over this, they should be able to help you sort out what is just you being gender non-conforming and what is gender incongruence. Seriously, if you think that you might be trans, go see a medical professional if you can. Also, I want to stress that in some cases like mine, recognizing gender euphoria can actually help people realize that they do experience gender dysphoria. And I feel like this is really important to bring up, especially when it comes to neurodivergent folks like me, because people get used to feeling a certain way for so long that it feels normal. And sometimes it takes removing some of that discomfort to realize what life is like without it, which makes you realize that there actually was discomfort there in the first place. Anyway, that's all I've got to say for this video. This one's pretty bare bones compared to my regular content because I didn't go super in depth on my own experiences and stuff, and part of that is because I've talked about this a little bit in other videos. So if you're curious about my own experiences with gender dysphoria or gender incongruence, please go ahead and check out my other trans-related videos. They're at the top of my channel, or at least they should be. And if you have any questions for me or topics you would like me to talk about, please leave them in the comments below. I still try to read all the comments. I've gotten a little bit behind, but I'm going to try and catch up. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay healthy, stay hydrated. Bye.